Good day to you all. With you is Sakura, and today in Mobile Hero Wars I will show you the new heroes Aidan and Kayla on maximum pumping. In this video, we will answer the main question, is it worth pumping them? And if so, is it necessarily both or one of them? Subscribe to this channel. There will be a lot of interesting and unusual content. And we're off to a great start. Mobile Hero Wars has two new heroes at once. Last time this happened with Corvus and Morrigan 3 years ago, and now it's repeated with Kayla and Aidan. Our goal is to get a closer look at these fiery creatures. Let's start traditionally with the main features. Kayla is an agility warrior who gets in front of Yasmine and behind Invari and has 250,000 health at maximum pumping, which is very decent for a native level. The first artifact is for physical attack, and book is for armor penetration. Kayla's physical attack score is the weakest of all the agility heroes, which is obvious and temporary since she doesn't have a single skin yet. All of her abilities naturally work from physical attack and health, but more on that later. Aidan is a support mage. The main characteristic is intelligence, and he gets in front of Jet and behind Peppy. At maximum pumping, has 274,000 health as well as 60,000 magic attack. First artifact on magic resist, book on the same health and magic attack. The new chaotics immediately feel more or less comfortable with such health values, especially when you consider that we still have heroes in our game who have health is in the neighborhood of 150,000. Let's break down the abilities of new heroes, starting with Kayla. They will be given a little more time, as their mechanics are not simple. Her ultimate instantly deals damage to the opponents around her, as well as taking 20% of each victim's maximum health and converting it to Kayla's own health. If an allied Aidan is dead, applying this ability resurrects him with the same amount of energy he had when he died. Morrigan blocks this resurrection. Damage dealt by this ability is low at 52,000. But what really matters is that Kayla's survivability after ultimate increases significantly, which is very interesting when combined with her second skill Acrobatics. With this ability, Kayla makes a jump into the middle of the opponent's team if her current health is greater than 40%, and when her health is less than 25%, she makes a jump to the middle of her team. That is, jump back and in parallel heals yourself for 65,000 for 5 seconds. The amount of heal increases with the number of chaotics in her team. If Kayla has less than 25% of her current health inside her team, she will start healing immediately without jumping when this ability is applied. During on-jump flight, Kayla is completely invulnerable. The first cooldown of this skill is 8 seconds, the next 15 seconds. However, the specifics in reloading is that ability starts to go to it immediately after application. That is immediately after jumping into the opponent's team. For example, Kayla jumped for the first time and lost health in a few seconds, will return to her team, heal in 2 seconds, and can immediately jump to the opponent again if the current health allows it, so Faceless won't always have time to flip her back. Third skill allows Kayla to deal physical damage to surrounding opponents, depending on the amount of damage she has taken since the last time this skill was used. Damage ceiling is no more than 75,196. Dazzle duration is 3 seconds. First recharge 12 seconds, subsequent 8. This skill is interesting primarily against physic heroes, especially against marksmen in the 4th position, which is not so easy to get to, which is, for example, Artemis, and which categorically should not be under the blinding for a second. The final 4th ability, Inner Flame, is passive and is activated in conjunction with the second skill, after which Kayla begins to burn, dealing 6618 net damage per second to herself and surrounding opponents. This effect stops if Kayla has less than 25% health. The usefulness of this ability is that pure damage is not dealt once per second, but several times, hence Peppy's shield combines perfectly with Kayla inside the opponent's team, dealing crazy amounts of damage to a large number of opponents at once. If previously there was a combo of Cleaver and Peppy, now we can say that there is a combo of Peppy and Kayla. Further in the review I will show what it can do. As we found out, Kayla's effectiveness is directly dependent on keeping her current health high, and the incoming healing, which is often lacking from her own second ability, but that's where Aidan comes in. With his first ability, he sacrifices 20% of his maximum health, increases his allies' maximum and current health by 57,000. The value depends on Aidan's own 20% health score and sets them on fire, dealing the same amount of damage in 8 seconds equal to the gain. If an allied Kayla is dead, she is resurrected with the same amount of energy she had when she died. Morrigan blocks this resurrection as well. Aidan does not deal damage to allies whose current health is less than 25%. Technically, he can increase the maximum health of his allies indefinitely until combat time runs out or they die. Because of this, Aidan perfectly synergizes with Lilith's ultimate, which boosts her own health, as well as with Xe'Sha, especially her passive skill for improvement magic attack and ultimate, which damage directly depends on the health of all allies. The effectiveness of Aidan's ultimate is immediately visible in the team with Chaotix against Hydra. On the screen, results of battles against legendary difficulty damage are amazing, and now it does not matter what element you are fighting against. Also, a nice point is that his first skill has no animation and is applied instantly. Therefore, bring down his ultimate no one can. The second ability, called Fire Embrace, allows Aidan to heal the team hero with the lowest percentage of health and all team heroes who have lost health from friendly abilities since the last time this skill was used. Heroes of Chaos get more healing. Reloading is single and is 12 seconds. Friendly abilities that cause allies to lose health are, for example, Xe'Sha's ultimate and her second skill, which is applied once every 7 seconds, which means it will be applied faster than Aidan's skill anyway, and therefore all allies will be healed by this ability. But even if he doesn't have a hero in his team that draws some of his allies' health for his own needs, Aidan himself does it with his third skill, Bonds of Fire. He damages the ally with the highest percentage of health and all other allies with more than 80% health at 2.5% of their maximum health, increases his maximum and current health by the value sacrificed by the allies, and heals by 42,000. Thus, during the battle, Aidan not only loses his own health because of the ultimate, but also heals himself, time after time increasing his own health, the value of which in turn is important not only for him, but also for the same first skill, and thus for his allies. That is, in short, the more health Aidan gets from this ability, the more he will distribute it to all allies with ultimate. And this he manages to do faster than to apply the second ability, because cooldown of the third skill is also 12 seconds, but here added to the first cooldown, and it is already 6 seconds. Thus, with the second skill, Aidan will heal his allies without any additional conditions. The final fourth ability allows Aidan to create a shield around himself or an ally with a current health of less than 30% that lasts 4 seconds and absorbs physical and magical damage with a cooldown of 15 seconds. Strength of this shield depends on the total maximum health of all the heroes of Aidan's team. That is, the longer the battle, the greater the strength of the shield. This ability is passive and triggers instantly, which saves you in a number of situations, such as when an ally takes a lot of damage in a very short period of time, for example from Yasmine. It's also worth noting that the shield doesn't block pure damage, which is promising for the combo of Aidan, Kayla, and Peppy. The moment Kayla loses health, she gets the shield, but she will continue to burn and deal damage to herself, which means that Peppy's shield will continue to deal damage because Kayla loses her health. Plus, the use of Aidan is justified in combo with Julius. The additional shield from him will reset the wearer's negative effects after 4 seconds of its action, and in general, this ability improves very well even tanks that are rapidly losing health, such as Astaroth. Even from description of Aidan's abilities, it's clear that he looks more versatile than Kayla, but that makes sense because no one ever builds team around a support hero, and building a team around warrior or main damage dealer is just a necessity and involves pumping a few characters for him. As for situation with Kayla, without such treatment as from her brother, she will just live less time and will not resurrect either. But still, let's not get ahead of ourselves and check what the new heroes can together and whether they can something separately against the previously formed meta teams. Using Aidan along with Xe'Sha, Lilith, Dorian, and Astaroth as a tank, you can easily defeat a classic team of engineers in the form of Julius, Judge, Nebula, Isaac, and Ginger. Rate of increase in health and magical attack of chaotic heroes is enough to survive the first half a minute, and Aidan's shield helps Astaroth to hold back the physical onslaught of the heroes of progress. At some point, damage from Lilith and Xe'Sha will become so much that it will allow you to quickly bite through all the shields to take take several heroes at once. If the engineer team has Sebastian instead of Nebula, these options work with Deers and Xe'Sha. Fafnir teams, we've waited a long time for every new hero to be able to at least somehow fight the teams at Tristan's base with Fafnir. So Kayla now provides such an opportunity to pierce them at the expense of damage from the ultimate, blinding and directly in the middle of the opponent's team. Old owners of Peppy will be especially happy because many Artemis teams fall very well with her, and not only with her. You can use Iris against Yasmine, and you don't have to worry about Faceless, because even if he gets sharpened by the snake, she won't do it that fast due to Aidan's new shield and Anvari's extra shield. How do the new heroes deal with elves? In principle, chaotic heroes, particularly Deers, have never had a problem destroying hordes of mushrooms, since Lars chain lightning strikes an infinite number of opponents. But fighting against elves in a variation with Orion always needed Rufus to absorb infinitely large amounts of magic damage, for example, from the third skill Mushy, and now can tank Krista along with a favorite shield and healing from Aidan. Additionally, need only Faceless to buy some time to recharge the ultimates. It's even easier with the regular elf variations. You can attack purely with chaotic heroes and even without new heroes, but with Aidan it's really more pleasant to do it. But fighting against undead with Phobos and even Iris is getting easier and easier even without Julius and Judge's help. There's so much damage from chaotic heroes under Aidan and Xe'Sha that even the Iris suffering Deers manage to do what they need from them thanks to the same healing and shields. There's also no problem with Amira teams if you add Mojo on top, who gives Jin a one-shot with his skull under Xe'Sha's magic attack buff. Thus, we see that Chaos faction with the new heroes has become so strong that it has supplanted even those factions whose changes were introduced gradually. Here 2 new heroes have transformed this path and now it is much more comfortable to play within it. So who should I pump the new heroes to? It's simple and logical here. If you have a chaotic heroes in the form of Xe'Sha and Lilith or Deers, then Aidan would be the perfect addition to them. And if in addition to these characters you have a dusty Peppy, Kayla together with her will open up new horizons for you in the fight not only with Fafnir teams, but also with many other heroes. But is it necessary to swing both? Here I think I should say a couple of things. Aidan looks like such a versatile hero that he doesn't even have to be used only in chaotic faction. He has too good a heal and shield, which will not only save a sharply slumped ally in health, but also strengthen the tank in the first position, winning him even more time. He's also interesting in defensive teams with Julius, and overall he's the kind of hero who has no obvious flaws. On the other hand, Aidan does not allow chaotic heroes to destroy Fafnir teams if required. To do this, he definitely needs Kayla, who, when necessary, will blind and kill the opponent's main damage dealer, and then the rest of the tanks, and Tristan himself with Fafnir. By the way, this couple themselves play well with Tristan himself. But while Aidan can easily exist without Kayla without Aidan doesn't feel so good anymore, since she lacks healing, and the endless rebirths are a really cool nuance. Just don't forget that Morrigan blocks these resurrections, plus Corvus Alter deals a lot of retaliatory damage to Kayla due to her burning. That's why I recommend appealing to exactly the characters you have. If you have Chaotix heroes necessarily with Xe'Sha and Julius with Judge, Aidan's pump will definitely come in handy, and if you don't have these heroes, he's still a cool, versatile support hero. If you have absolutely nothing to destroy Fafnir teams, for example, no Fafnir team of your own, or a good team with Amira, but there are chaotic heroes, then both new heroes can act as a salvation. But it's best to have a base in the form of Fafnir team with Artemis and classic engineers with Julius anyway, and then it's best to look towards the chaotic heroes with Aidan and Kayla. I recommend that you get both heroes at least 5 stars, so that you can raise their stardom with evolution books, and then, after looking at various tests, you can decide for yourself whether you need them or not. In this video I have tried as briefly as possible, but informative outline all the data that I know, and what to do with them you decide. Also, again, I sincerely ask you to subscribe to this channel and put like this video. It's not difficult for you, but is nice for me. Here will appear a lot of unique content. I think nothing like this you have not seen before. Thank you all for watching. See you all again soon.